Trophilius asks, with 42 votes, dear Jimmy, can you teach any basic or intermediate PHP programming? The first thing I want you to do is go to Google and search XAMPP. And I'll explain what it is in a minute. Just Google search. And it allows you to install MySQL, PHP, and Apache at the same time and have it be all configured. Usually people install Apache and then they have a really hard time installing PHP and MySQL and configuring them together. With XAMPP, you just install their package and everything works, and best of all, it works for Linux, it works for Windows, and it works for Mac. So you can install it on multiple operating systems, and it's also completely free. Read the documentation and the information that comes with the package, and you should be able to get a working localhost. Once you have Apache installed, you can actually go to http://localhost, and it'll give you the web server on your own computer. You could also type in 127.0.0.1, which is a shortcut, again, to your local computer's IP address. And I didn't spend any time explaining the installation process because that site does a really good job of explaining how to set it up step by step, so I just want to get to the PHP as fast as possible. Basically, in any directory, Apache looks for index.php or index.html first. Also, you can specify index.php. But you can access any PHP file you've made, and we're going to start editing it. Okay, one last thing before I begin. Most people don't like using Notepad, so I'll give a few recommendations for editors to edit code with. You can use Notepad Pro, which is what I'm using. There's another one called Notepad++, another one called Sin, and a really cool one in Java called JEdit. A lot of them have syntax highlighting and other cool stuff, so they have more features you can use. Okay, let's start coding. The first thing you do in almost every programming tutorial is say hello world. In PHP, you just echo. In this case, I wrote hello YouTube. And I refresh the localhost and we get hello YouTube. So you can just make it right by echoing. You need the quotation marks to show it's a string. Let me show you some of the basic data types. Variables are set in PHP just by adding the $sign. So I'm going to say this is a string and it equals a sentence. This is a sentence. And I can also enter numbers. It's not really limited to just text. And then end the string by the quotation marks and then the semicolon to say that all of this is just one command. So now that that's done, I have another data type called number. It's just an integer. Number equals 0 or 9. Or I can say 9.95. I don't actually have to specify that it's a floating point. I can just save it without the quotation marks and it's magically a number. That's what's great about PHP. You don't have to define any of the data types. I can use these variables just by putting them in. My echo here, I can just put str here, and it's going to replace str with this string without the quotation marks. So I'm going to go back to localhost, I'll refresh, and as you can see I have hello world, which is the beginning here, and then I have whatever's inside the string variable. So variables can just replace text pretty much. And I can also input a number here too. I can use, say, $number, save, refresh here, and here I have the number as it is in the variable. PHP can also do math. For example, here I have 9.94. I can add by just saying plus 0.06 to make 10. And I can put parentheses over everything. And the asterisk key multiplies. So I say 10 times 10. We use asterisk because we can't use x. And I can also multiply by pi. It has a constant m pi. 10 times pi is that. I could also divide just by putting / divided by 10. 10 divided by 10 is just 1. So there's all kinds of cool functions you could use. So number right now is 1. There's also even more functions, like for example, to increment just by 1, I can say number plus plus, increment by 1. So I have number equals 1 right here, and I refresh here, and I get 2. And I can use this command over and over and over again, and it'll increment by 1 every time I use it. I could also say number plus equals 10, and it'll actually add 10 to number. I'll refresh here, and I get 11. And I'll make a new thing, and there's actually one for times equal, to multiply number times 10, or minus equal. Let's minus equal 5. So number is 11, I'm going to minus equal 5, and I'm going to get 6. So there's all kinds of useful functions that you can use for mathematics. Okay, now I'm going to show you basic conditionals. I'm going to make a new variable called Bush is smart, and I'm going to set it to the Boolean operator false. Boolean operators is another data type that's either true or false. Basically, this is how conditionals work. I can say if Bush is smart, then echo, we're doing okay. Else, echo, we're all doomed. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to refresh, and it actually wrote we're all doomed because Bush is smart is actually false. So that's how conditionals work. I can also add brackets to show that particular code extends multiple lines. I could also do number comparisons. For example, I'll say num equals 1 if num is greater than 5, echo yes. Yes. I'll refresh, it echoes nothing, and when I set it to 6, it'll say yes. I could also say greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. And I think there's two ways to say not. I could say equal and add the exclamation point to basically reverse the true or false, or I could say exclamation point equals, or I think I could also say this thing. I'm not sure why, it's just a matter of memorization, I guess. The next thing I'll show you is a little bit more about strings. Here's a string. This is a bunch of characters. And I'll set a new variable, str. This is even more. What if I wanted to connect the two strings together? I'm going to attach them just by using a dot. I could say string equals string dot str, and then I'll echo string. So basically it says string equals itself, all of this stuff, and then add to it str. So I save it and refresh here. This is a bunch of characters, and this is even more. So this is the first variable, this is the second variable. I attach them. PHP actually makes it even easier. Instead of writing this, I can actually write string dot equals str to attach the second string to the end. And I'll delete this thing, and it's going to output exactly the same thing. This syntax is actually very, very convenient, but it could cause some problems. For example, if I want to echo thing with a $sign in it, it's going to look for the variable thing. It won't actually echo $thing. I can save it here and refresh here, and it's going to say undefined variable thing. To use characters like the $, without it grabbing a variable, I can use a backslash. I save it and I refresh, and it'll output $thing. I could also use it for the quotes. What if I wanted to add the quotes inside this echo? If I add quotes here, like let's say Jimmy says hi, it's going to give me an error because it's going to say, okay, that's the end of the string. You messed up somewhere. I'm going to save it, refresh here, and it's going to give me a syntax error. Instead of this, I can actually just add backslashes in front of the quotation marks, and then they'll work. Jimmy says hi.